be careful. Something's coming. I'll do my best.
Originally released in Japan in July of last year, Atelier Shallie Alchemists of the Dusk Sea makes its way to Western territories this month. Developed by Gust and published by Koei Tecmo, Atelier Shallie is the third game in the Dusk storyline, and the apparent 16th game in the Atelier series in general, not including the side games or remakes. I was quite surprised to see just how many of these games that there have been. The first game I played was Atelier Escha Logy, but my time was very brief with the title. I'd consider Atelier Shallie as my first real attempt to check the series out, so know that my views are of those of someone just starting. I won't be able to comment on some of the finer details that may have changed from one game to the next.
I won't hold back!
The Atelier series has always had a heavy emphasis on alchemy, requiring players to scavenge the land for materials and combine them to make stronger items to progress further in the game. In the world of the Dusk series, however, these resources are running dry. Even water is becoming scarce. Shallistera, our first protagonist, is hoping to find a way to prevent the water in her village from drying up. To do so, she travels across the Dusk Sea to the city of Stellard. The city is the major source of water for the region, but we're quick to find that they are having problems of their own.
I'll find a way to save the village. It's my responsibility after all. So are you going to go
Our second protagonist, Shallotte, is a resident of Stellard. Her goal is to get rich and do something big with her life, though she's often given menial tasks due to her inexperience. When starting the game, you'll play as both Shallies for a short time before you have to decide whose story you want to follow. Each of the characters have their own events that you'll only see if you choose them. This does add a bit of replayability to those who want it. The two do cross paths, however, with the major events being shared between both sides. For the record, I chose to follow Shallistera's story.
Hello, Soul.
Fans of the series may be happy to know that a lot of the previous characters do show up as cameos or as full-on party members that'll travel alongside you. There is one major change that should be mentioned, however. The Atelier series is typically known to have time management mechanics. You'd be asked to complete any main or side objectives before their time is up for the chapter. Atelier Shallie, however, does away with this system. Once certain requirements are fulfilled, you'll be asked if you want to progress to the next chapter. You can simply select no and go about your business until you want to move on. I can only assume that this change was made to bring in new players. Whether you think this is a good change or not will change from person to person. Just know that there are no time restrictions this time around. As mentioned before, the game is divided into chapters, each with a main goal you must complete before moving on. Access to this goal, however, is often locked behind a system called life tasks. The initial concept of the system sounded neat. In a lot of RPGs, you never really have to think about your daily needs or wants of your characters. Having a system where you have to maintain some of these needs could be interesting if done right. What it really just boils down to in Atelier Shallie, though, are fetch quests. Go gather this many materials, or make a certain amount of items. Some of these are a bit more interesting, and some even involve interacting with other major characters, but a lot of them, and there really are a ton of these things, are just generic side quests. Luckily, they do provide a large amount of experience, and you're never asked to complete all of them, just a few to satisfy your character in order to move on. You'll find more traditional side quests at the Union headquarters that you can complete for extra money. These require you to either kill a certain number of enemies or bring in some materials or crafted items. Using alchemy to craft items is obviously a major component of the game. For a newcomer, this system can be a bit intimidating. I'm still not 100% sure on what some of the mechanics are for. The basic idea is that you'll combine multiple items into something that is more useful. Every item has its own stats, effects, and properties that will influence how good the final result will be. Want a potion that will heal even more health? Use higher quality ingredients that will increase its effectiveness. Would you rather have a potion heal over time instead of all at once? Try adding an item with the right properties to apply the effect. There are so many ways you can tweak even a simple healing potion, it's kinda addicting. Outside of simple items, you'll also be able to make new weapons and armor at other alchemy shops that you can customize just as much. I've probably spent more time making items than I have doing anything else. I'm really surprised by how much I enjoyed the alchemy. If you even remotely like crafting items in games, you'll probably enjoy the way it's handled in this one. To make these items, however, you'll need to gather materials. Items can be gathered a number of ways. Most simply, you can just buy some of the ingredients from the local shops in town. Their supplies are a bit limited though, so you won't be able to get everything you want this way. You'll need to go out and collect them yourself. The world map is simple enough. You have nodes that connect to one another, and you simply choose which area you'd like to explore. Before going into an area, you can even check what types of materials are there, which is handy. Each area is self-contained. You won't be doing any real exploring, as each area is linear. The available gathering spots are all listed on your map, and gathering materials is as simple as walking up to them and pressing the X button. As you gather items, the meter at the top left will start to fill. Once it does, you'll be given the option to perform various tasks, such as have the whole party gather what's left in the area instantly, gather a single rare relic, or even things like summoning a horde of monsters or a single strong one to fight. Overall, exploring is rather lackluster. I do enjoy looking at each environment, however. Some of them are rather beautiful. On the plus side, since every area is small, it's easy to choose where you want to go and with minimum time required to get there. This makes grinding specific items or enemies a relatively painless process. Speaking of enemies, there are plenty of fights to be had. As the main characters are alchemists, they are a bit weak in battle. They are, however, the only characters that can use items that you made in battle. They'll have access to some devastating bombs and essential healing items. Combat itself is a traditional turn-based affair. You'll take turns trading blows with your enemies based on the turn order at the right of the screen. Certain abilities have longer recovery turns than others, so knowing when your next turn will be is always a nice addition. One unique aspect of combat is the rear team. Once you have enough party members, you'll be able to assign 3 of these. During any attack, you can press the corresponding button for the rear character to swap places with them. You can even swap places as an enemy is attacking to save someone with low health. While in the rear, your characters will even regain their MP, which is crucial for longer fights. As you land attacks on the enemy, you might trigger a break. During a break, the enemy's turn will be skipped. You can, however, choose to attack the enemy that has been broken to do extra damage. Dealing damage or receiving it will cause the burst gauge to move up and down. Once it reaches 100%, a burst will trigger. Any attacks that you use will do additional damage in this state. If you can manage to bring in all of your rear team in an attack, you'll trigger a variable strike, which differs depending on the character. All of your rear characters have an assist gauge you'll need to keep an eye on, however, so you'll want to have them available when you need it. While the combat system is more traditional, that's not a bad thing. The addition of the alchemy items and the utility of the assist characters in the rear help to spice up combat a bit. If you're looking for a more difficult experience in combat, there are multiple settings that you can choose at the start of the game. Same goes if you're looking for an easier time. On the presentation side, some of the animations and transitions are a bit rough or end abruptly. It's not a huge deal, and in some cases it helps to speed combat up a bit. It can just be jarring. Atelier Shallie Alchemists of the Dusk Sea is a beautiful game with an addictive crafting system. Sure, on the technical side everything looks a bit basic, but the art style carries the visuals past this limitation. I do wish the frame rate held at 60 more often than it does though. One final complaint I have is with the localization. You'll find quite a few text errors throughout the game. Somewhat related is the way your life tasks show up. The name of the quest is usually what you did to acquire it. For example, after using 3 bombs, your character will want to use 2 healing items. When you do this, you'll see a progress bar that says, use 3 bombs, since that's the name of the quest, and it can be a bit confusing. Overall, it's not a big deal, it just takes you out of the experience. While I can't say if it's what fans of the series are looking for, as a newcomer, I've enjoyed my time with the game quite a bit. I recommend people give it a shot, and hey, if you like it, there are plenty more games that came before it to check out.